Hi, and good evening. It is time for another First Chapter Friday for my middle school students. And the book I have selected is actually a book that can be found on the Junior Library Guild access links, the elementary and the middle school. It is an AR book. It is worth 1 point. It has a book level of 5.0, so it overlaps the two. And the quiz number is 171782. So if you want to read this book, it's available through the Junior Library Guild links, and those can be found on the school webpage, the library page of the school's website, Miss Singleton's teacher page, and the Green High School Library Google Classroom and the Green Elementary Library Google Classroom. But all you have to do is click the link and it will connect you. And then you simply select the book. And the book I've already chosen scroll down, is Magic versus Bird in the NCAA final. I know it looked a lot different this year, our March Madness. And I bet some of your parents and grandparents can remember watching Magic Johnson and Larry Bird play professional basketball. But this is when they were still in college. So Magic versus Bird in the NCAA final. My author is P.K. Daniel. Give it a moment to spin. This is Larry Bird from Indiana, and from Michigan is Magic Johnson. Now, this is a nonfiction book. It has a table of contents because if I'm looking for specific information, I may want to jump forward and backward in the book if I'm writing a report. But I'm going to read this just for pleasure, so I'm going to turn the page. Chapter 1, Before the Madness. It was 40 years before Larry Bird and Irving Magic Johnson met for the college basketball national championship. March Madness didn't yet exist. College basketball fans weren't filling out tournament brackets. Office pools weren't commonplace. ESPN wasn't that familiar friend in the America's living rooms. The year was 1939. 8 college basketball teams were invited to Northwestern University. The school's central location near Chicago made it easier for teams to attend. In Illinois, they would play in the first National Collegiate Athletic Association, NCAA, men's basketball tournament. And before I start this next paragraph, I'm going to go up here and read the caption that connects with this picture. And it states, Stanford University and Long Island University, Stanford and Long Island, play a college basketball game in 1935. College basketball had no championship tournament until 1939. Okay, so to continue on with Chapter 1. Basketball had been around since 1891. However, there was no official college national championship until then. The iconic tournament was single elimination from the start. Little else from that tournament looked like the modern March Madness, though. the 8-team field was limited to conference champions, and the Final Four was not yet held in a football stadium. Instead, the entire tournament was played at a 9,000-seat Patton Gymnasium. The University of Oregon and Ohio State University played in the first championship game. The game was held on March 27, 1939. Official figures show that only 5,500 people showed up. Those not at the game could follow it on the radio, but the game was not broadcast on TV. A makeshift band played Mighty Oregon as the Webfoots won the first NCAA title 46-33. The game was hardly a major event. In fact, some fans and teams preferred the National Invitation Tournament, the NIT. The NIT crowned its first champion in 1938 in New York City. It was not until the 1950s that the NCAA tournament began to take over. Modern touches of March Madness were added to the tournament over the years. The tournament expanded to add more teams, yet even into the mid-1970s, the tournament had not grown larger than 25 teams. By the end of that decade, however, no one would look at the NCAA tournament as a niche event again. And I already know this ends chapter 1, but before I turn the page and show you Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, I have a little side box here at the top with extra information. Now, I always remind my kids, you need to read everything, including these little boxes, because there just might be an AR question that gets covered in one of these little bits of information. In the news, the Oregon Daily Emerald, independent student newspaper, ran a banner headline after the University of Oregon won the first NCAA basketball championship. Quote, "Nation hails Ducks after 46-33 victory. They're national champions now, these tall Oregon boys who have no peer, no match wherever basketball is played in this old world. They've walked a long time and marched a long way along the nation's long trails, and now they've reached the top, the highest pinnacle for which anyone can strive." And notice they cited their source. Source, Oregon National Champs, Oregon Daily Emerald, March 28, 1939, print 1. So you can look that up if you want to and verify that this is what it says. Now, my caption for this picture says the University of California, Los Angeles, and the University of Houston play in the 1968 Final Four. Check out the socks. Now, chapter 2 is where we start to get some information about Larry Joe Bird and Irving Magic Johnson. And here the two young men are as they were so long ago. This is Irving Johnson, and this is Larry Bird. So if you're interested in basketball, history of basketball, or just want something good to read this weekend, I would suggest that you read Magic vs. Bird in the NCAA Final by P.K. Daniel, available on the Junior Library Guild elementary stream and middle school stream. And don't forget, if you're still working toward your AR, it is an AR book. Quiz number 17182. Book level is 5.0, and the points are just 1 point, but Every point counts. Have a great weekend.